People try to change their results without changing their surroundings, and that's like planting seeds in concrete and expecting a garden.
Think of planting a seed. You do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You trust the process, knowing that beneath the surface, unseen forces are at work.
Do you want to get rich? All you've got to do is plant that seed in your mind, care for it, work steadily toward your goal, and it will become a reality. It not only will, there's no way that it cannot.
It won't happen. Wealth doesn't grow in chaos, it grows in order. It grows in intentional space. I remember a time when I was struggling to build momentum in my business. I was learning the right things, listening to the right mentors, even working hard, but I was scattered. My books were in one room, papers piled up in another, and my desk was more like a dumping ground. I sat there one day and realized I wasn't just disorganized, I was disoriented.
When you stop trying to make things happen and instead dwell in the end, reality bends to match your inner world. What once seemed impossible will unfold naturally, without force or struggle. Simply be the person who already has what they desire, and the world will reflect it. It is law.
You see, that's a law, like the laws of Sir Isaac Newton, the laws of gravity. If you get on top of a building and jump off, you'll always go down, you'll never go up. And it's the same with all the other laws of nature. They always work. They're inflexible. Think about your goal in a relaxed, positive way. Picture yourself in your mind's eye as having already achieved this goal. See yourself doing the things you will be doing when you've reached your goal.
My mind couldn't focus because my environment was full of noise, distractions, and clutter. So I made a decision to build an environment that looked like success before success even showed up. Start with your workspace. It doesn't matter if it's a big office or the corner of your kitchen table. What matters is that it's your sand, it's clean. Wipe off the distractions. Stack up the tools that feed your growth. Place your goals where you can see them every day. Keep a journal within reach. A good book nearby. Your laptop ready not for entertainment, but for enterprise. Let that space speak one message to your mind every time you enter it. This is where wealth is created. It's funny how when you organize your space, your thinking starts to sharpen. It's not magic, it's structure. And structure invites clarity. Clarity makes decisions easier. And easier decisions reduce resistance. That's how results speed up, not by trying harder in chaos, but by designing the atmosphere for productivity.
Every night as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, you stand at the doorway of creation. In this drowsy, relaxed state, your conscious mind fades, and your subconscious becomes highly impressionable. It no longer argues, doubts, or questions. It simply accepts. This is the most powerful moment to reshape your reality, to implant the feeling of your wish fulfilled so deeply that it must manifest in the world around you. Most people go to sleep in a state of worry, regret, or frustration. They replay the troubles of the day, dwell on their struggles, and unknowingly impress these negative feelings upon their subconscious. The next day, they wake up to more of the same circumstances because they have unknowingly recreated them in their sleep. But you can use this time differently. You can enter the state of the wish fulfilled and allow your subconscious to make it real. Before sleep, let go of the outer world. Do not concern yourself with what is happening, what has happened, or what may come. None of that matters. All that matters is the reality you are about to create within. Close your eyes, relax your body, and enter a state of calm. Feel the heaviness of sleep approaching, but remain aware enough to direct your thoughts. This is the perfect moment to assume the feeling of your desire already being yours.
Every one of us is the sum total of his own thoughts. He is where he is because that's exactly where he really wants to be, whether he'll admit that or not. Each of us must live off the fruit of his thoughts in the future, because what you think today and tomorrow, next month and next year, will mold your life and determine your future. You're guided by your mind. I remember one time I was driving through eastern Arizona and I saw one of those giant earth-moving machines roaring along the road at about 35 miles an hour with what looked like 30 tons of dirt in it. A tremendous, incredible machine. And there was a little man perched way up on top with the wheel in his hands guiding it. and as I drove along, I was struck by the similarity of that machine to the human mind. Just suppose you're sitting at the controls of such a vast source of energy. Are you going to sit back and fold your arms and let it run itself into a ditch? Or are you going to keep both hands firmly on the wheel and control and direct this power to a specific, worthwhile purpose? It's up to you. You're in the driver's seat. You see, the very law that gives us success is a two-edged sword. We must control our thinking. The same rule that can lead a man to a life of success, wealth, happiness, and all the things he ever dreamed of for himself and his family. That very same law can lead him into the gutter. It's all in how he uses it, for good or for bad. This is the strangest secret in the world. Now, why do I say it's strange, and why do I call it a secret? Actually, it isn't a secret at all. It was first promulgated by some of the earliest wise men, and it appears again and again throughout the Bible, but very few people have learned it, understand it. That's why it's strange, and why for some equally strange reason it virtually remains a secret. I believe that you could go out and walk down the main street of your town and ask one man after another what the secret of success is, and you probably wouldn't run into one man in a month who could tell you.
I visited wealthy people's homes, offices, studies, and there's a pattern. They're not flashy, but they are intentional. Their bookshelves are curated. Their desks are clean. Their notes, goals, calendars visible and alive. They've created an environment where ideas don't just arrive, they flourish. They've eliminated the energy drain of mess and disorganization. That's not a rich person's quirk, it's a strategy. I once knew a young man who started building his business from a corner in his bedroom. Nothing fancy, just a small desk, a vision board, a whiteboard with goals, and a lamp that made the space feel alive. He told me that space made him feel like a CEO even when he had no revenue. 6 months later, he was making 5 times what he used to earn. Why? Because he treated his environment like a garden. And a tended garden always grows something. You want to make more money? Then build a space that respects money. Clear the clutter. Organize your tools. Make your goals visible. Surround yourself with reminders of discipline, possibility, and purpose. Because when your environment whispers success, every time you sit down, your mind won't wander, it'll work. And soon enough, it'll produce. Success isn't something you stumble into, it's something you schedule, it's something you commit to. The wealthy understand this, and that's why they don't let their week happen to them, they happen to their week. If you want to build wealth, you don't just need big goals, you need a calendar that reflects those goals. A wealth calendar, a blueprint for your energy and your time. And once that's in place, wealth no longer becomes a surprise, it becomes a schedule. Let me tell you what I began doing once I realized the power of structure. I stopped treating my time like it was cheap. I stopped saying, I'll get to it when I can. Instead, I started assigning roles to the days of my week, giving each day a job. I treated time like a business partner, because time is the most valuable partner you've got. Misuse it, and it quietly walks away. Respect it, and it multiplies your effort. So here's how I shape my week to reflect the priorities of wealth. Mondays became my learning day. Not just reading, but intentional, targeted learning. Business strategy, investing principles, personal development. Because if I don't grow, my income won't either. You can't make more money with the same mindset. You have to upgrade the operating system. Tuesdays were for selling. Whether that meant phone calls, emails, proposals, it didn't matter. I knew that no value exchanged meant no income earned. Sales is not a dirty word, it's how you serve at scale. So I blocked time to move product, make offers, and expand reach. On Wednesdays, I reviewed my finances. I looked at cash flow, spending, investments, progress toward financial goals. Midweek is a good time for adjustments. You're far enough from the start to have movement and close enough to the end to make corrections. If you ignore your numbers, they'll ignore you too. So I made it a habit every week. Thursdays, that was networking day. Now, I don't mean schmoozing or collecting business cards. I mean reaching out, checking in, offering value, sharing a resource, making an introduction, asking someone how I could support them. Because money flows through trust, and trust is built in the time between transactions.
See yourself in the life you want, not as an observer but as a participant. If your desire is love, feel the warmth of it surrounding you. If it is success, hear the words of praise spoken to you. If it is abundance, sense the security and ease of having more than enough. Make the scene as vivid as possible, but more importantly, let it be natural. Do not force it. Let it unfold effortlessly, as though you are recalling a memory rather than creating a fantasy. The key is not just to visualize, but to feel. Feeling is the language of the subconscious. If you simply watch images in your mind without emotion, you are only daydreaming. But the moment you attach a deep, genuine feeling to the scene, as though it is happening now, your subconscious accepts it as truth. And what the subconscious accepts as true, it must bring to life. Persist in this feeling until sleep takes over. Let yourself drift off in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. This is not a time to think about how it will happen or to question whether it is working. This is a time to surrender to the feeling of already having what you want. By doing this, you impress your subconscious with the new reality, and it will work tirelessly to manifest it in ways beyond your comprehension. When you wake, resist the urge to doubt. Do not look at the outer world for immediate proof. Simply trust that the seed has been planted and allow it to unfold. The world you wake up to will soon begin to change, aligning itself with the assumption you fell asleep in. This is the secret of effortless creation. If you sleep each night in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the day will come when you no longer have to imagine it, because it will be your reality. Faith is not hoping, wishing, or waiting for proof. Faith is feeling a deep inner knowing that what you have assumed is already yours. The world may show you nothing yet, there may be no physical evidence, but the moment you feel something as real within, it has already begun to materialize. Most people believe only in what they can see, hear, or touch. They wait for confirmation from the outside world before they allow themselves to believe. But this is not faith. Faith does not require proof. Faith is the ability to feel something into being, to trust in the unseen so completely that it must appear in the seen.
Now, this information is enormously valuable to us if we really understand it and apply it. It's valuable to us not only for our own lives, but the lives of those around us, our families, employees, associates, and friends. Life should be an exciting adventure. It should never be a bore. A man should live fully, be alive. He should be glad to get out of bed in the morning. He should be doing a job he likes to do because he does it well. One time I heard Grove Patterson, the great late editor-in-chief of the Toledo Daily Blade, make a speech, and as he concluded his speech, he said something I've never forgotten. He said, "My years in the newspaper business have convinced me of several things. Among them, that people are basically good, and that we came from someplace, and we're going someplace. So we should make our time here an exciting adventure. The architect of the universe didn't build a stairway leading nowhere." And the greatest teacher of all, the carpenter from the plains of Galilee, gave us the secret time and time again. As ye believe, so shall it be done unto you. I've explained the strangest secret in the world and how it works. Now on this side I want to explain how you can prove to yourself the enormous returns possible in your own life by putting this secret to a practical test. I want you to make a test that will last 30 days. It isn't going to be easy, but if you'll give it a good try, it will completely change your life for the better. Now back in the 17th century, Sir Isaac Newton, the English mathematician and natural philosopher, gave us the natural laws of physics, which apply as much to human beings as they do to the movement of bodies in the universe. And one of these laws is that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Simply stated, as it applies to you and me, it means we can achieve nothing without paying the price. The results of your 30-day experiment will be in direct proportion to the effort you put forth. To be a doctor, you must pay the price of long years of difficult study. To be successful in selling, and remember that each of us succeeds to the extent of his ability to sell. Selling our families on our ideas, selling education in schools, selling our children on the advantages of living the good and honest life. selling our associates and employees on the importance of being exceptional people. 2, of course, the profession of selling itself. But to be successful in selling our way to the good life, we must be willing to pay the price. And what is that price? Well, it's many things. First, it's understanding emotionally as well as intellectually that we literally become what we think about, that we must control our thoughts if we're to control our lives. It's understanding fully that as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Second, it's cutting away all fetters from the mind and permitting it to soar as it was divinely designed to do. It's the realization that your limitations are self-imposed and that the opportunities for you today are enormous beyond belief. It's rising above narrow-minded pettiness and prejudice. And third, it's using all your courage to force yourself to think positively on your own problem, to set a definite and clearly defined goal for yourself, to let your marvelous mind think about your goal from all possible angles, to let your imagination speculate freely upon many different possible solutions, to refuse to believe that there are any circumstances sufficiently strong to defeat you in the accomplishment of your purpose, to act promptly and decisively when your course is clear, and to keep constantly aware of the fact that you are at this moment standing in the middle of your own acres of diamonds, as Russell Conwell used to point out. And fourth, save at least 10% of every dollar you earn. It's also remembering that no matter what your present job, it has enormous possibilities if you're willing to pay the price.
Fridays became my creation day, whether it was crafting a presentation, writing an article, or recording content creation meant legacy. I wasn't just earning, I was building. If you don't make time to create, you'll spend a lifetime consuming. And consumers don't get rich, creators do. Sundays were reserved for reflection. I sat down with my journal, notepad, and planner. I asked, what worked this week? What didn't? What's the lesson? You see, if you never pause, you never pivot. And if you never pivot, you just repeat mistakes with more intensity. Reflection gives birth to wisdom, and wisdom is more profitable than gold. This isn't about making life rigid. It's about making your effort intentional. When every day has a purpose, you stop drifting. You start designing. And once you design a life built around growth, creation, and discipline, it's only a matter of time before wealth finds its way in. Let me tell you something I learned early on. Life doesn't always warn you. One moment things are fine. The next, the car breaks down, a client backs out, or a global event shifts your entire business. And if you haven't built a cushion, a moment of crisis becomes a mountain of debt. That's why I tell people, your emergency fund is not a luxury, it's a responsibility. It's your personal insurance policy against panic, against poor decisions made under pressure. Now, I understand the dilemma. You want to grow, you want to invest, you want to enjoy life too. And sometimes saving feels like slowing down. But let's reframe that. Building an emergency fund isn't about stopping your growth, it's about securing it. Because when life throws you a surprise, and it will, you'll respond calmly, not react desperately. And there's a big difference. So how do we build that emergency fund without choking progress? You start with a small, clear target. 1 month of expenses. Not a full year, not 6 months, just one. That's your first win. Rent, food, utilities, gas, whatever you'd need to survive 30 days. Set that number and treat it like an invoice. Pay it to yourself before anything else. And then here's a little strategy that works beautifully, especially if you're on the path of wealth. Use every windfall wisely. See, most people, when they get a tax refund, a bonus, or an unexpected gift, they think, how can I spend this? The wealthy ask, how can I allocate this? And here's what I've found that works. Well split those windfalls intentionally. 50% goes to investing. That's your seed money that works while you sleep. 30% goes to savings. That's your safety net money that waits until you need it most. And 20% goes to enjoyment, because life isn't meant to be punished, it's meant to be designed with wisdom. Now, why that balance? Because if you put everything into savings, you might be safe, but you'll stall. If you put everything into investing, you might grow, but you're exposed. And if you put everything into enjoyment, you'll feel rich briefly, but stay broke long term. But when you divided seed, security, satisfaction, you feed every part of your life. You grow, protect, and enjoy in harmony. I used this strategy when I was rebuilding myself. Back then, I couldn't afford mistakes. Every dollar mattered, so I gave every dollar a job. And I promised myself this: I would never again be caught unprepared. Because it's hard to make wise choices about your future when you're busy worrying about today.
Right now, whatever you desire, whether it is love, success, wealth, or healing, exists as a possibility. It is not separate from you. The only thing keeping it at a distance is your belief that it is not yet real. But the moment you accept it within, the moment you feel its reality before seeing it, the process of manifestation begins. Your subconscious takes that feeling as truth, and the world around you starts to shift to reflect it. Most people sabotage their own desires by looking for evidence too soon. They assume their wish fulfilled for a moment, then immediately check their surroundings to see if anything has changed. When they see the same circumstances, they doubt, they question, and they fall back into their old state of lack. This wavering cancels out their assumption. You must persist in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, regardless of what the physical world shows you. Think of a seed planted in the soil. The moment you plant it, the process of growth has already begun, even though you cannot see it yet. If you keep digging it up to check if it is growing, you will only delay its progress. The same is true for your desires. Once you have assumed them as real within, leave them undisturbed. Trust that the unseen forces are working to bring them into form. Feeling is the secret ingredient. It is not enough to simply say, "I believe." You must feel the reality of your desire. If you desire love, feel the warmth and joy of being in that loving relationship now. If you desire success, feel the confidence, the satisfaction, the ease of already being successful. Do not wait for the world to give you permission to feel this way. Feel it now, and the world will follow. Faith is not passive. It is an active state of being. It is living as though your desire is already a fact, speaking as though it is done, walking as though you are the person who already has it. When you truly embody this feeling, you will no longer need proof, because you know it is done. And once you know it is done within, it must become done without. This is the great mystery of creation. The world does not shape your belief shapes the world. Change your inner feeling, hold firm in your faith, and reality will bend to match it. Everything you seek, love, success, abundance, or peace, begins within you. The outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. When you learn to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to trust in the unseen, and to persist in that inner knowing, you become the master of your reality. There is no need to struggle, chase, or doubt. Simply feel it as real, and the world will rearrange itself to match your assumption. Do not be deceived by what your senses show you today. The circumstances you see are only the echoes of past thoughts and beliefs. But you are not bound by them. At any moment you can step into a new state of being, a new assumption, and watch as your world transforms before you. The key is faith. Not blind hope, but the deep, unwavering feeling that it is already done. If you can fall asleep in the state of your fulfilled desire, if you can carry that knowing throughout your day, and if you can trust that the unseen is more real than the seen, then nothing will be impossible for you. You are the creator of your reality. Feel it, believe it, and it must be so. Thank you.
That's why you build the fund not for the fear, but for the freedom. And the beautiful part is, once you build that base own month, then 2, then maybe 3, you walk through life differently. You don't panic when the refrigerator breaks. You don't stress when the business has a slow month. You've got your own bank built by your discipline, not by chance. Security and growth are not opposites. They are partners. One gives you the peace of mind to pursue the other. So build your emergency fund like you build a house brick by brick, paycheck by paycheck, windfall by windfall, until the day comes when you no longer fear the unexpected, you simply prepare for it like the wealthy do. If there's one thing I've noticed after years of studying the wealthy, it's not that they do more than everyone else. It's that they do less, better. The rich don't chase every shiny opportunity. They don't spread themselves so thin that they forget what they started. Number. They set a target, they narrow their vision, and they walk a straight line to it. That's focus. And focus, my friends, is the difference between busy people and wealthy people. You've probably heard the saying, "He who chases two rabbits catches none." That applies to business. It applies to money. And it most certainly applies to success. So here's how I teach people to focus like the rich. Because it's not just a mindset, it's a method. Start with one clear money goal every quarter. Not 10, not 3, 1. Maybe it's to increase your income by $5,000. Maybe it's to save your first $10,000. Maybe it's to eliminate debt. But you pick one target. Why? Because clarity breeds confidence. And when you have confidence, you don't second guess. You don't get distracted by someone else's goal. You stay on the trail. Now, once you've got that goal, you break it down, not into theory, into actions. Ask yourself, what has to happen every month to get there? Then ask, what has to happen every week? Then boil it down to today. Daily milestones. Because the future doesn't show up all at once. It shows up one disciplined day at a time. When I first started setting money goals, I would write them on index cards and tape them on my bathroom mirror. So I'd see them when I woke up and again before I went to sleep. I didn't let them disappear into a journal. I kept them in front of my face. That way, when someone offered me a great opportunity that didn't align, I'd say, "Sounds good, but not now." That's what focus gives you. Permission to say no to the good, so you can say yes to the great. Now, let's talk about distractions. They're everywhere today, on your phone, in your inbox, on your feed. If you don't manage your attention, someone else will. So here's what I recommend. Block time on your calendar for your most critical money actions. Whether it's sales calls, learning a new investment strategy, or writing content, put it on the schedule. And when that time comes, protect it. Turn off your phone, close the tabs, go into what I call money mode. I had a friend once who called it sacred time. Every day from 9 to 11 a.m. he was unreachable. Not because he was avoiding people, but because that was the time he worked on his income-producing activities. And over a year, those 2 hours a day made him more than most people made in a month.
Now let's just go over the important points in the price each of us must pay to achieve the wonderful life that can be ours. It is, of course, worth any price. 1. You will become what you think about. 2. Remember the word imagination and let your mind begin to soar. 3. Courage. Concentrate on your goal every day. 4. Save 10% of what you earn. And 5. Action. Ideas are worthless unless we act on them. Now I'll try to outline the 30-day test I want you to make. Keep in mind that you have nothing to lose by making this test and everything you could possibly want to gain. There are 2 things that may be said of everyone. Each of us wants something, and each of us is afraid of something. I want you to write on a card what it is you want more than anything else. It may be more money. Perhaps you'd like to double your income or make a specific amount of money. It may be a beautiful home. It may be success at your job. It may be a particular position in life. It could be a more harmonious family. Each of us wants something. Now write down on your card specifically what it is you want. Make sure it's a single goal and clearly defined. You needn't show it to anyone, but carry it with you so that you can look at it several times a day. Think about it in a cheerful, relaxed, positive way each morning when you get up. And immediately you have something to work for, something to get out of bed for, something to live for. Look at it every chance you get during the day and just before going to bed at night. And as you look at it, remember that you must become what you think about, and since you're thinking about your goal, you realize that soon it will be yours. In fact, it's yours really the moment you write it down and begin to think about it. Look at the abundance all around you as you go about your daily business. You have as much right to this abundance as any other living creature. It's yours for the asking. Now we come to the difficult part. Difficult because it means the formation of what is probably a brand new habit, and new habits are not easily formed. Once formed, however, it will follow you for the rest of your life. Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. And there'll come times when you'll feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% are successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must take control of your mind. It will think about only what you permit it to think about. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful, positive outlook, give of yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work toward, you're immediately a successful person.